Hey guys, good morning. Welcome to the Saturday Scoreboard, this special game day edition, live inside the Fox Den at Hoernemann Stadium on the campus of Heidelberg University. I'm your host, Nate Mullins. I'm joined today by three special guests and, of course, the wizard, Greg Kinn, keeping us live on the ones and twos. We've got to my right, Josh Morgret of the Advertiser Tribune, and to my left, we'll start all the way on the left, Zach Dillon, Heart of Ohio Sports and Heidelberg University, and also special guest Aaron Montz joining us on the program this morning.
Glad to be here.
Absolutely. Hey, you're a Heidelberg alumni, so this was a great time for you to come on with us and give your perspective on your experience as a Heidelberg alum. So I thought, great time to get you on, and I appreciate you coming on with us.
Sure. I'm glad to be here. It's an exciting day for Heidelberg. It's a great university. Big game today. So
yeah.
I'm sure we're going to see these the stands packed.
Oh, it always is, and especially you've got homecoming weekend, and then they are celebrating the 1972 championship team.
Yep.
The last Stag Championship celebrated here at Heidelberg was the 1972 team, and they are going to be in-house for the most part, right, Zach?
Yes.
The majority of them will be here.
Yeah.
So it's going to be an exciting day here at Heidelberg. We're excited to be here, and we'll be broadcasting the game. Make sure you tune in right around 2 o'clock for the kickoff. A little bit before then, about 1:30 for the pregame festivities. And, it's going to be a fun game. It always is a fun time here at Hoernemann Stadium. But, Aaron, I thank you for coming on, but I really wanted to get your perspective on, we talk a lot about sports. Obviously, it's a Saturday Scoreboard Show. We do a roundup of all the high school sports and college sports ahead and all that good stuff. But, you have a different perspective. Obviously, you came to Heidelberg and you graduated and you moved on. You've done different things in your life since then. But, just elaborate a little bit on your time at Heidelberg. What did you go to school for?
Yeah, so I was a history poli-sci student here.
Okay.
So studied history, political science, originally planned to go on and become an attorney.
All right.
And decided, after 4 years of school, I needed a little bit of a break because, my goodness, you go through high school and then you're in college and it's 16, 17 years of nonstop around-the-clock work. And I was working a full-time job while I was here at the university to try to keep some of my college loan and debt down at the time. But the time I spent here on campus, so I actually moved onto campus even though I lived in Tiffin. I wanted to have the full student experience, and I do not regret that at all. Even though living on campus, of course, costs more, totally worth it because I got to meet so many good people who I still have kept in contact with. Coming down to the football games, which were at that time still at Frost-Kalnow Stadium. So we didn't have a football field here.
Yeah.
When I was a student, this area was kind of a mud pit. There was an area they did some running and whatnot, just nothing exciting. And I'm kind of a little jealous of the students today who get to enjoy this awesome football stadium with the beautiful view. You've got the autumn trees turning. You really can't beat this. It almost has the feel of a much larger university that you're going to for game day, really.
I always say that this is the most intimate setting you can find for a football game anywhere.
Yeah.
And not just in this area, but anywhere. This is so unique. The visitors have to share the stands with the home team, so it gives it a different perspective. And then, you have the backdrop, especially in the autumn time. This time of year, it is perfect. You have such a beautiful scene behind the game going on with the trees in the background, the fall, the autumn leaves changing. It really is. It's a unique setting that you don't see anywhere else. And the students are very privileged to be able to have this. Zach, you were here when it's first started, kind of. Well, you've been here for a few years now, right?
I've been here for a few years, fourth year.
Yeah.
Senior.
So you got to see it when it was in its infancy. The first year, I think, was your first year, right?
So I was here in 2019.
Okay, so actually it was a couple years before that. 2017, right, was when they debuted?
I believe
when they
so.
opened the place?
Yeah.
Yeah, so what's your perspective? You've been here for 4 years now. Over the time that you've been here, you've got students, that you are in charge of now because you're kind of, the head guy. What is your perspective, when you talk about this stadium, when you go to other stadiums, what do you think about this place? Truly unique.
It is. It's so fun, especially to see the student section lined up here. On homecoming, you have people lined up just on the field level. It's so cool to see.
Yeah.
And that's with the stadium being packed. I haven't been to a football game where I'm not either on the sideline or in the press box. So I have a kind of a unique experience in that way. I don't have the traditional game day, right?
We have the best seat in the house, though.
Exactly.
This is, it really is.
Yeah. And so that's something that I've really enjoyed is creating that production and trying to capture exactly what it feels like for people who can't make it to the stadium.
Yeah, absolutely. And Aaron, you said while you were here they didn't have this. It was just a mud pit. I mean, talk about you were mayor during the time when this was being constructed.
Yep.
So were you involved at all in the process? Did you at least have like an input? Was there anything, did they ask your opinion, or was it just more like, hey, I'm just going to watch this as it evolves?
Yeah, so I remember when Rob Huntington came to me, the president of Heidelberg University, and talked about the vision they had down here. Mm-hmm. And I was just blown away with it, because usually you see those conceptual drawings. They say, this is what it's going to look like, and the end product is never as nice because you get those conceptual drawings. You don't have the bill yet.
Yes,
then,
exactly.
Then you see the estimated construction cost, and things never come out as nice as what those drawings look. This came out, to me, just as nice, if not better than those drawings, because I remember the first time walking through when we had the ribbon cutting ceremony for this, walking out here looking, just saying, wow. It was incredible. And you even over there where the beautiful pond is now, that used to be a small softball field. And the girls would hit a home run and it's in the creek. You're not getting the ball back. And just the transformation of this. And it's great because, as you know, Heidelberg have one of the best college football programs around of these smaller universities long ago. And to bring the pride back onto campus, it was not the same as a student to walk or to drive to Frost Cowell Stadium for a homecoming game. It just, you're not on your campus. And this here sets Heidelberg University off from a lot of different places that you can go because of how unique it is. And just, you look out here. I love to walk the trail with my dog at night. And I come down here, and every day of the week, it doesn't matter if it's Sunday at 9 o'clock, if it's Tuesday morning at 7 in the morning, people are out here using this field. And just, it brings a sense of campus that is so much needed to this university. Sure. So I was a student back in the dark days of Heidelberg University, and that was when Heidelberg University went, I can't remember, something like 3 consecutive seasons without winning a football game. And we were featured on some pretty big publications, I recall. So but hey, as students, we still went, supported that team. But it's
took the couches and everything.
That would be a long carry to take the couches all the way to Frost Cowell Stadium. I don't know about that, but yeah, a little different here. You got a short little trek with the couches, but yeah, it's just great to see the pride brought back to Heidelberg University football.
For sure, absolutely. And we talk about sports a lot, but you have gone on to do a lot of different things since you graduated from Heidelberg. Talk about, your role as a mayor in Tiffin. Obviously you're not that guy anymore. You're not in that role anymore. So what's your role now? What do you do right now?
So now at the Tiffin-Seneca Economic Partnership, we lead economic and community development for all of Seneca County, except for the city of Fostoria. Fostoria has their own offices, just like they have their own chamber, and a lot of that's because Fostoria is in 3 different counties.
Yeah, I was going to say, so it's kind of in Seneca, but it's also in other counties.
It would be a kind of a nightmare to say, whose jurisdiction is this? This building is located in this place, but however, they're thinking of moving to this side of the town. It would be a nightmare. So they have one different office over there. But really, my goal is I'm on the front end with projects. The first time we get a sniff of anyone with interest in Seneca County, or I track a lot of leads. So just like last Thursday at the office on the 20th, I submitted a lead for a statewide project to try to attract a manufacturer here. And I found that lead from RGP and Jobs Ohio and submitted, I don't know, there was about 100 different questions on a spreadsheet that I had to answer about what the electricity to the site is, what the water capacity, the sewer capacity, how close to the surface is the bedrock. We've got to enter in all of these details, and then we're either pre-qualified or not qualified to move forward, and hopefully we'll be qualified. Because if we are, then they'll come down for a site visit, and we may, bring another manufacturer into the Tiffin community with good paying jobs. So trying to be a little pickier. We don't want to just sit out there and play catcher, and anything that's thrown at us we take. Right. We would like to bring in some more higher paying jobs to the area, whether that be manufacturer, or whether that be the tech industry, which is why we've worked so hard on broadband. Because you're not going to bring tech jobs to Tiffin, Ohio, or anywhere in Seneca County for that matter, unless you have high-speed, effective broadband. First thing.
Absolutely.
With this business.
And, I see a lot of investment in broadband in this area. And it's not just at the commercial. It's not just at the the private level. It's not just at the the residential level. It's at the business level as well. We're starting to see that as a business in downtown Tiffin. We need high quality internet and not just download speed. Everybody has great download speed. We need the upload speed. We need both ways, and that's one thing that the fiber investment is really it's bringing that to people that just didn't have it before.
Yeah, exactly. And with OmniFiber coming in, they're going to hardwire right directly to your home, to your business. That's what's exciting. It's not going to be some kind of you get it to this point, and then you've got to get a signal into your house. They're doing a lot of actual wiring right in there where it comes into your facility. And I just think it's going to be such a boon for business here in really the Tiffin area, but then now as we expand outward with the big project with Bascom and with North Central Electric, that's going to be huge because of Intel coming to Ohio. All of the additional businesses coming to Ohio because of Intel. You wouldn't believe the leads that have already come across. And I'm talking leads for manufacturers that they're looking to build a 500,000 square foot manufacturing facility, or they want to hire 1,500 people. Those types of things are coming because of Intel. So you look at if we bring fiber here, Tiffin can't support a new factory or a new business that's going to employ 2,000 people. We just can't because it would cannibalize all of our businesses. But some of the smaller businesses, or especially the tech businesses that are going to come here because of it, those are our sweet spot here in Tiffin, Ohio. Mm-hmm. They're going to bring higher jobs, better salaries. They can support better family living. That's exactly what we have to start recruiting here in Tiffin, Ohio. And that's why part of the reason I took this job, because I said, we've done great for economic development in Tiffin over the last decade, but I want to step it up to the next level. And, I still go back to thanking Commissioner Kirshner. So I laughed. I said, Mike, you're either going to be the most loved or hated guy in the community. When the commissioner came to me and said, you really need to think about doing this. You've been the mayor. How are you going to take Tiffin to yet another level? He goes, I don't think it's possible, really. Why don't you look at doing the economic development and community development work for us? I know your passion, what you've done in Tiffin. You can take this county-wide and start bringing in additional jobs. And I'm thrilled. I love it.
Yeah.
The 16 weeks, I've completed my 16th week. It's been incredible. I've met a lot of great people, and I love this place. I'm hoping never leave Seneca County.
It's obvious.
I love this place, yeah. So, thank you.
It's pretty obvious that you love this place. And I just wanted to kind of touch on the transition for you. It seemed really seamless. It was like one day you're the mayor, and the next day you're this guy at Seneca Economic Development. I mean, it's like there was no real downtime for you. I mean, sometimes people need a little bit of okay, all right, I'm not this guy anymore. Let me just relax for a little bit. And no. You're right into it, ready to get your feet wet.
Yeah, I laughed. I said I went in and I literally stopped being mayor at midnight on July 4th, and I came into the office the next day at about 7:30 in the morning on July 5th. And
no 4th of July vacation or anything.
Nope. I have not had one yet since I started. I'm planning one in December. I'm hoping that all goes well. So,
You get days off?
Yeah,
really?
you do get some days off. So that's
what are those?
Yeah,
as a mayor, you don't get those.
Oh
right?
my gosh,
it was a 24/7, 365 job.
That is one of the things I've noticed. It is nice to when I have a weekend or when you have just whether it's a day off, because I haven't done a vacation yet, nor should I. You've got to come in and work your tail off to prove yourself.
Listen to this guy.
Nor should I.
Hey, yeah. So I'm going to take one in December, but it's nice because when I've had weekends that I can actually just sit down and I don't have to, every time the phone beeps or vibrates, well, could that be the police chief about something? Could that be the city administrator? Did this happen? Did that happen? Or even just hearing the sirens going out, it hits you like, gosh, what could the call be? Is this, you just don't know. And everything weighs on you so heavily. And I'm not trying to dissuade people from running, but it takes a lot out of you. And I'm not trying to sound negative. No. I love the position, and I do not regret a day of the job, but it is nice to finally take a deep breath and just, whew.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, you had a lot go on during your time in office. I mean, well, you mentioned vacation. Yeah. When you were on vacation, that's when Mark Hayes passed away, right?
Well, no, I wasn't on vacation. I was representing the city in Japan.
Yeah, you were away. Yeah. It was not exactly a vacation, but you were away. You were out of town when that happened.
Out of town.
So, I mean, there was a lot of things that, happened during your time as mayor that you just, you got to roll with the punches.
Yeah.
You got to be there and ready for everything and anything.
Yeah, I had no idea when I would sign up that we would have, while I was overseas representing the city, that we'd have the council president and acting mayor at the time pass away unexpectedly. But then the other acting mayor, so Jim Roberts took over and passed away.
Yes.
while he was acting mayor. So I had no idea those types of things would happen. Who the heck ever dreamed that you're going to have a pandemic?
Exactly.
And there's no guidebook for that. There's a guidebook for how to deal with a recession. There is no playbook out there for how to deal with a pandemic.
Well, there is, but it's from 1913.
From the flu outbreak.
Spanish flu,
So,
1898 or something.
So you're trying to listen to all of these experts that some of them are telling you to do this, some of them are telling you to do this. I have zero medical background. I'm history and poli-sci, so I can read what people did wrong years ago, and that's about the best I can do to figure out. And everybody is, Monday morning quarterbacking with the pandemic, regardless.
Oh, yeah.
I couldn't post a picture doing anything.
No.
I'd post a picture with a mask on. I'd have people telling me how terrible I was for wearing a mask. I'd post a picture without a mask. I'd have everybody telling me how terrible I was for not wearing the mask. You could not win.
Nope.
You could not win.
No, you can't.
Yeah.
You really can't.
Yeah.
That's the way it was.
Don't you have like a cute dog or something?
I do.
You should have just posted the picture of the dog. That would have made
Dogs.
me happy.
Everybody loves dogs.
They would have criticized that though too. So. How dare you not have a mask on that dog?
Oh, I know. You just can't win sometimes. But absolutely love the 11 years that I spent as mayor. I don't regret any of it. It was a great time. I'm so proud of and I say my team because people thank me, and I always like to say it was the team that I surrounded myself with.
That's what it's
that
all
got
about.
things done. That as evidenced by how well things have still gone since I left in the 16 weeks, that I said, I could have walked out and got hit by a Mack truck. And that team that I've put in place at the city with the leadership there, with our department heads, the employees, the clerical staff, they could have kept things running just fine until we found someone else, and this is evidence of that. So I believe you've got to build great teams.
Yeah.
If you don't, you walk out the door and leave, and the whole system collapses.
Absolutely. And that's kind of what we've done here at Heart of Ohio Sports is, without Greg, we wouldn't be able to do what we're doing. Without Zach, we wouldn't be able to do what we're doing. We need people, and good people in the right positions is really important.
Yep, you've got it right.
So,
yep. Hey, I've known this guy a long time, so he's one of the good ones.
Josh, any questions for Aaron here?
No, I just want to say, I appreciate what you've done as mayor and in the position you're in now. And, I'm kind of on the outside here. I'm originally a Fostoria guy, so you mentioned them a little bit ago, the three counties. So to come in and work in Tiffin, I really appreciate what you've done for the town and continue to do. And definitely exciting things that you're working on, it sounds like. And it kind of just it gives everybody morale, boosts everybody when the city is thriving. And I appreciate what you've done and appreciate that you came in Ohio State colors today too.
Yeah, well, thank you. I enjoy following you on Twitter because that's how I get a lot of my sports news from everything that you tweet out on there. So I really enjoy that. So keep it up. Keep it up. That's where I get a lot of my news when I'm out and about.
Just don't let your Twitter get hacked, all right? No.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
Oh, my.
He got his Facebook hacked recently. Oh, man. That seems to be happening to a lot of people, though. It's
so
not just
annoying.
you. Trust me. It's a lot of my friends are like, I've had a few of them.
That's how I knew you had a dog. I didn't think I was stalking you or something.
Yeah, no,
you are.
We were friends,
you.
or I followed your mayor page.
Well,
so
one of the football-related things we should talk about quick is Dan Orlovsky really upset me yesterday when he the quarterback. He tweeted out that the worst, trashiest peanut butter or Halloween candy are the peanut butter pumpkins, and I said,
I see
no.
Those are fighting words. Those are the best Halloween candy.
I think I seen you tweet
about
it back to him or something.
Oh, I did. I said I'd never engage on online quarrels. This is worth fighting for. Yeah, see,
Those are the best.
Yeah.
Get that on
How
camera.
do you say peanut butter and chocolate? Pumpkins are the worst Halloween candy.
Well, someone needs to talk to Eric Hall about the peanuts, the circus peanuts.
Those are just
those are the
disgusting.
worst.
Yeah.
Those are absolutely the worst.
But anything Reese's and peanut butter is
come
good
on.
in my book.
Well, Dan Orlovsky is known for his
Horrible take.
horrible takes, absolutely, and running out of the back of the end zone. So,
Go Lions.
Oh, geez. Yes.
Well, Aaron, once again, I really appreciate your time this morning.
Of course. Thank you.
Any other things you want to kind of discuss this morning? I mean, I really
No, I just want to
wanted
thank
to give you the
because,
opportunity.
Nate, I think this is great. The business that you've started here, because I can remember growing up and my parents working jobs and whatnot, and there were times that they would have to work and miss either my brothers or myself, different sporting events and whatnot. And what you're putting together here and what this is going to grow into, because I know how hard that you work at things. This is amazing because it's not just about a business to get high school players' names out there, this and that. It's also the families having the abilities to follow the next day and, hey, I missed Johnny's game or I missed Susie's volleyball, whatever it may be. You're building something that's going to allow people to have memories for the rest of their lives versus dad having to run there with his cell phone or video camera or whatever trying to record things. I I can't thank you enough, because these are the kind of things that would have been awesome when I was younger to have, that I could have had memories then that I could have downloaded on Facebook or whatever, that I could have had of me playing baseball, my brother with football or whatever, and now we've got, the old janky video recording that Dad tried to take or something, which is still great and memorable, but you're putting together something really special here. And I don't say that just because I'm sitting here with you. It's because I know how passionate you are about everything that you do, everything that you touch, and it's just amazing. And I hope that people realize as you grow bigger and you continue to good things, because you'll get a bigger and bigger audience on social media, just don't ever lose sight of the fact that these are still high school kids that are on here. And it upsets me so much when you see occasionally those comments on social media making fun of, well, they lost this game, or these are still high school kids. They're 16, 17, 18 years old, trying to study full time, some of them working jobs, they're playing games.
Yep.
Don't lose sight of the fact that these are still high school children out here playing these games.
That's somebody's son. Yeah. That's somebody's daughter.
Yeah, don't be so hard on them. But really, that's a general statement, I think, for everyone in life right now, because of how just vitriolic social media has gotten, but especially our high school students. It can really impact them. They're in their developmental years, and when they're seeing some of these comments on social media, be encouraging. Blowout loss, big deal. Make it up next week. So I'm proud of you. So
I appreciate
thank you for everything you're doing, and I can't wait to be on here in a few years, and you've grown it to who knows where, and we're maybe Tiffin University's got a football stadium at that point or something, and we're somewhere else. So be exciting.
That would be exciting.
It would be.
And you mentioned you wish that it would have been there for, when you were, I can't tell you how many times people have come up to us, say the exact same words, like, we really appreciate what you guys do. Man, I really wish this would have been here when I was in high school. I'd have loved to have something like this when I was in high school, and it's like, that's what we're trying to create. That's what we're trying to do, is we want to make lasting memories. We want to make these, obviously we put on these productions because we care about the quality of the production, but we also care about the people we're doing this for. Mm-hmm. We care about the kids. And that's what we try to make it, is always about the kids. Mm-hmm. And that's, it shouldn't need to be stated. Yeah. But I think we need to kind of overstate it. That yes, this is just for the kids. We are promoting kids. Mm-hmm. We are promoting young student athletes here. And that's our job, and that's what we're trying to do with this. Now, there's been, obviously the streaming world is like the wild, wild west right now, because there's really no rules, no regulation. There is, but there's not. Mm-hmm. But it seems like, there's different people that are dipping their toes into the water, and different media outlets, or different people that want to kind of try their hand. Even schools I'm seeing now are trying to stream their own games. But the quality that we're trying to provide, it's something that you can be proud of. It's something that you can share with your friends and say, this is coming from my hometown. Yeah. These are guys that I interact with on a daily basis. These are guys that, not saying that you wouldn't normally expect this, but you wouldn't normally expect this out of a small town. Like the kind of production that we provide, you wouldn't think this is coming from a town with 17,000 population.
Correct.
I'm just being honest. We try to provide production quality that's above and beyond what's expected. So that's all we'll ever do.
You guys are great. No, just have to try to get Lee Corso down here, right? Have him don the student prince's head.
He's a tough sell. Yeah, he's a tough sell. We'll get there eventually.
D3 football circuit.
Yeah.
Once again, Aaron, I appreciate your time.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for coming on.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Once again, former Tiffin Mayor, Aaron Montz, joining us on the program, Heidelberg alumni. Aaron Montz. Thanks for coming on with us, Aaron. We're going to take a step aside real quick. We'll be right back after this. Don't go anywhere. We got more coming up. We got to talk high school football. We got Scott Donaldson coming on with us. Don't go anywhere, folks. We'll be right back. You're tuned in and locked in right here on Heart of Ohio Sports. Okay, and welcome back to the Saturday Scoreboard here on Heart of Ohio Sports. Nate Mullins, Zach Dillon, Josh Morgret, and we got the Wizard on the ones and twos. Greg Kinn keeping us live. Great interview with former Mayor Tiffin, or I want to keep saying Tiffin Mayor, damn it. Former Tiffin Mayor. Tiffin Montz coming out with it. Aaron Montz is he is Mr. Tiffin. For real. You could just call him Mr. Tiffin because the guy is he's the biggest cheerleader for the city of Tiffin because he'll go to the bat for anything when it comes to Tiffin.
And that's what you want out of someone that's in a position like that. You
absolutely.
Want them to fight and want to make your city proud and better.
For sure. So, once again, we got to talk about football. We got to get into this because there was a lot that went on last night. There was a lot that happened because of what went on last night. We got the fallout, and Josh, I know you've got all of the matchups. You got everything ready to go. So
I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 browsers open. So
let's get at it. Let's go.
Where are we starting? What region?
So where were you last night? Oh, I know where you were at. You were where I was.
You were the first person I saw when I walked in last night. Frost
and of course, I forgot your check again.
Oh, I forgot that you forgot.
I was like, hey, whoops, whoop, whoop, whoop.
I forgot that you forgot.
But no, great game if you're a Columbian fan.
If you're a Columbian fan.
I like doing that. Like, great game if you're a Columbian fan.
It depends on who you were rooting for.
No, it was that game. That was one of the quickest games I've ever called in my life.
Yeah. I was down on the field interviewing Coach Lutz, I think, at like 8:55.
I was home comfortably in my PJs at 9:30.
Yeah. I wasn't far behind you once I wrote my story. I had to write 2 stories. So
I was like, is this real? Is this real life? It's 9:30. I'm already home. What's going on?
It's like you're checking Twitter and you're looking for final scores because they haven't happened yet.
Yeah,
exactly.
exactly.
That's how I was driving home at 10.
I was sitting at home.
That game just finished.
Watching the X stream.
Yeah, we were just starting the third quarter when we saw the handshake line going on.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Yeah, it was that was quick. Let me just say that because the first drive of the third quarter, Columbian just drove all the way down the field, ate up 8 minutes worth of clock, and then didn't score.
Yeah.
And then Norwalk gets the ball back, eats up the rest of the third quarter clock, a little bit more of the fourth quarter, and they don't score. And then Columbian gets the ball back, drives down, and it was just a bunch of drives, no points in the second half whatsoever. A lot of movement, but not a whole lot of score movement. So
yeah.
Window dressing, yes, that's what it was. A lot of window dressing.
Yeah, I didn't write a whole lot about the second half. It was all fireworks in the first half.
Yes. So, Josh, what did you have for us? I mean, from yesterday, where was Tiffin Columbian going into that game as far as playoff seeding?
Going in, I think they were the 1 seed in the region. They did what unofficially official looks like falls to the 2 seed. But that's really because Holy Name beat Elyria Catholic last night, and that was a lot of computer playoff points. So
the Green Wave.
The Green Wave, yeah. It's Holy Name actually played Clyde this year, yeah, and lost to Clyde. So if that's a meeting down the road, maybe for the regional championship, they at least have a common opponent, which you wouldn't expect from a school that's over by Parma. But
how do they only have 9 games?
Let's see. They must have had a bye somewhere. Yeah, it looks like the last week in September they didn't play.
Huh.
Or no, they played the next day. I don't know. 1, 2, 3, 4.
Yeah, they didn't play the second, September 2nd.
Oh, yeah. Week 3 they were off. So after they played Clyde, they had a bye, and then they lost to Elyria Catholic and turned around and played them again, which is kind of odd, too. So
that is really odd.
Yeah, I didn't see that the first time I looked.
They played Elyria Catholic twice.
Yeah, they played them in what would have been week 4, and then they turned around and beat them. They basically look like they played a home and home.
They played a home and away series.
Which, I mean, Holy Name.
During the same season.
Yeah, Holy Name, I want to say, might be like an independent school. So I guess that gives you the opportunity to do it if you got to fill games, and you can get a school to do it, too.
Okay.
So.
But, yeah, they're the number 1 seed. Columbian finishes unofficially as of right now. We're looking at joeitel.com for, of course, all of our playoff standings. But unofficially, he has them at number 2.
Mm-hmm.
That means they will face Rocky River.
Rocky River, yes.
The Pirates, right?
Another school from over that way.
Yes, the Rocky River Pirates out of Cuyahoga County.
Yeah.
You know anything about these Rocky River Pirates?
I do not. They're 4-6. They lost their last 2. Looks like pretty.
They lost to Elyria Catholic.
Yeah, they lost to Elyria Catholic. They started 0-3, so they won 4 out of 5 in the middle of the season, but doesn't look like they beat anybody super spectacular. So I would say Columbian probably goes in as a pretty heavy favorite, especially at Frost Cowno Stadium. And unfortunately, that's kind of the thing that happens when you put 16 teams in each region. You get some of these sub 500 teams that get in, and Columbian will want to come out and take care of business, get out of it healthy, and get ready for the second round of the playoffs.
Now, Zach, you're from Michigan, right? So things are a little different in Michigan. You said they have a selection Sunday?
Yeah. Well, it's kind of.
I was like, this is kind of cool.
Yeah.
Ohio needs to step it up here.
No, I remember it was we made the playoffs in 2018.
Okay.
And it was obviously you have your teams that they know they're getting in. It was Fox Sports Detroit at the time would have their show all Sunday, hosted by one of their baseball anchors. And yeah, it was the entire weekend. The whole team gets together in like the gym or on the football field or whatever, and gets it on the big screen and gets food, wings, chicken, whatever. And that's where you get the videos of like the high school teams like erupting, like, hey, our name's on the screen and this is who we're playing, and that's how a lot of people find out.
That's cool. That's awesome. I didn't know that, and honestly, that needs to be a thing. We need to try to make that a thing in Ohio because I think that is really cool. Anything that gives more promotion to student athletes and the things that they accomplish, I am all for 100%. So, but no, in Ohio, they just OHSAA just posts them online, right?
They'll send out an official one, I guess, Sunday morning or afternoon, but. If you know Joe Itel's website, you know what's coming.
He's like,
I don't think he's like ever made a mistake.
I don't think I've ever seen a mistake from Joe Itel. Usually, the unofficial is usually official by Sunday.
Yeah, he says unofficial just in case something went wrong, and you don't want some school freaking their crap because they thought they were playing someone, and Lord forbid he made one mistake in the course of 400 football games he enters or whatever it is.
Yeah. But Zach, one more question about how do they do playoffs in Michigan? Is it the regions? Do they have regions in the divisions?
Yep.
As well?
It's from what it looks like. It looks like the exact same process.
Is it top 16 in Michigan, or is it just top 8? Because they've recently just changed this since the pandemic. It was before the pandemic. It was only the top 8 would make it.
Yeah, I don't know how it's been done since. Could be. Doesn't matter for me though. My alums undefeated in the regular season. So go Tecumseh.
There you go. Shout out to Tecumseh. But no, I think with the advent of this top 16 in every region making, you look at Region 10, there's 24 teams, or 26 teams.
Yeah.
Okay, so there's 26 teams in Region 10. So that means only 10 teams are not going to make the playoffs. The majority of the region is going to make it into the playoffs. How do you feel about this, Josh?
Like I said, it's interesting, and we talked about it there for a second, right, when I stepped into the Fox Den this morning. You look at the 16 teams that are in the playoffs, 14 of them are 500 or better, so, that's kudos to them.
I think that's the thing that they were trying to avoid is a 500 or better team of not making the playoffs.
Yeah. 15 seed Rocky River's 4-6, 16 seed Copley is 3-7, so that, okay.
Well, you remember a few years ago, Gibsonburg, 10-0, missed the playoffs.
Yeah.
So that's one thing that they were trying to avoid.
Yeah, if you look at the region, 14 seed Firelands is 7-3. 7-3, that probably should be a playoff team. So they kind of avoided that. You go a little further up, number 9 seed Toledo Scots 8-2. They would have missed the playoffs at 8-2, and there's not a whole lot they can do about their schedule in the City League. So in general, it's good for the kids. Any other kids that get to play in a playoff game, that's exciting for them. But sometimes you do get some not so very good teams in there that are probably going to get running clock next week.
Yeah, sure. That's the important thing, right? It's good for the kids. Yeah. This isn't the NFL where, there's a shot next year, you play 11 years and whatever if you're good. This is going to be the last game that they're ever going to play in, right? For a lot of these kids, the majority of these kids. So, if a subpar team makes it in the playoffs, okay.
Yeah, so be it.
Who's really upset by that?
Right.
Is the 1 seed really upset that they have
an easy week?
Exactly.
Week.
Before when they announced that everybody made the playoffs, what was it? The top 8 seeds got buys, or top 4.
Yeah, something like that.
Top 4 just got a bye, essentially. Yeah. I didn't like that at all. Because you had teams that were like, we don't want to bye. We're going to schedule a team to play. We're just going to schedule some team that's, not in the playoffs or
Right.
decided, because there were teams you could decide not to participate in the
Yeah.
playoffs. And there were teams that decided not to, and then there were teams that had a bye that scheduled some of those teams for like the tune-up game essentially. I didn't really like the bye idea, but I think it works. Honestly, it works. I don't know about top 16. I thought maybe top 12 would be a little bit more
Well, the only problem with the top
understandable,
12
but then
is
you can't do the tournament. You can't do the bracket right.
Yeah.
Like the bracket
Well,
gets
then you
messed
gotta
up.
take the buys too.
Yeah. So
I like 16. It's either I like the division of 4. It's either 8 or 16.
Yep. So you've got your top 16 pretty much set. Division 3, Region 10. You talked about Columbian at number 2. Now, what about the other teams in the area? Now, that's the only team in Region 10 that is in the playoff conversation in this area. Oh, Clyde, obviously.
Clyde's right there
Clyde's
behind them
number
at
3.
3. Yeah.
So,
Big win over Bellevue last
I
night.
was just about to say that. Yeah, they had a huge win over Bellevue last night. So, big time for the Flyers, and they clinched that number 3 spot in the playoffs. Looks like they will play Firelands.
Yeah.
Matchup of 7 and 3 teams.
Oh.
Pretty good game.
You know, at one point I said I wanted to make about Columbians. When I got home last night before the Holy Name Elyria Catholic result got in, Columbian was in that 1, so then they'd play 16. Then they would play the winner of 8 and 9, which is Lutheran West and Scott. Lutheran West is 9 and 1, and their only loss is to Kirtland.
Well,
So I'm not saying Columbian avoided something, but you know, if Lutheran West plays Holy Name in that 1-8 matchup in the second round, it wouldn't be crazy if Lutheran West beat them. So
yeah.
I don't want to say an easier path for Columbian, because then the second round they would play the winner of Medina Buckeye and Padua Franciscan. So Columbian at home in the next 2 weeks should be wins.
Okay.
Don't want to put the cart before the horses, but they
Still
got a nice draw. They're probably right up there as the favorites to win the region, probably with Holy Name, and I wouldn't count out Clyde either.
Now, as I look at this region, it looks winnable.
It is.
It
like I
does.
said,
It
they
really
got to
looks
be
winnable.
one of the top favorites.
Zach, you've seen this Columbian team a couple times this year. You've covered your games.
I have.
What's your impression of this team? Is this a team that you think could make a deep playoff run this year?
I do. I think they're well coached. Lutz has been great. They have a really good offense. I mean, that kind of runs through Rogo, and it's exciting to see. So, man, I wouldn't count them out of any game this year.
Yeah, absolutely.
If they can have the balance, especially like they did last night.
Yeah.
You know, we went into the year knowing that Braden Rogo was QB1, was going to have a huge year. He's a Division I recruit, gonna go play somewhere special. But if Damian Brockington and that running game can get going.
Yeah.
And the one thing I noticed, too, with the running game last night was even after they were up 41-0, Brockington came out. Keyshawn Stites did the same thing.
Yep. Comes in,
It
gets
didn't
10
stop.
yards, 8 yards of carry.
It didn't matter who was in the backfield. I mean, they were eating up the Norwalk defensive line easily. They
was
were
that
getting 3,
offensive
4,
line.
5. Yeah, they were getting 3, 4, 5 yards of gain before contact.
Yeah.
And then they were turning into 8, 9, 10-yard pickups. So,
Yep.
if something happens where someone turns an ankle or Brockington just needs a blow, a rest, Keyshawn Stites came in and did the same exact thing they needed him to do. So if they're balanced, that offense is going to be hard to stop.
That's a great point, Zach. Josh.
Yeah, whoever.
I'll take credit.
Jeez. Jeez.
Well, you only get away with that because you got Zach beside
That's
you.
why I can get away with it today, because I have a Zach sitting here next to me.
I know that's not the Zach you're referencing.
Oh, yeah?
Zachary L. Baker.
Quit. That's not at all the point I was trying to make there. No.
What were we talking about?
Zach who? No, Zach
who?
Dillon.
Yes. That's,
We're
yeah,
chilling
of
with
course.
Zach Dillon
You
here.
just turned the wrong way.
Josh?
You just turned the wrong way.
That's all I was doing. I was trying to tell him he was going to make a good point.
Eventually.
Eventually.
One of these days it'll come up.
Michigan people.
Oh, so let's move on. Columbian, they've got their spot clinched. Talk about any other teams in this area. Obviously, there's some other teams that we've had our eyes on throughout this season that had a chance. There's some really good teams in this area that we knew were going to be there at the end of the year. Cary's one of them.
Oh, God.
Number one. No doubt. No doubt about it. That's one of the best teams that I've watched all year long, regardless of division. Like, I seriously think they could play with D3 teams. Like,
Yeah.
if they were in the same region as Columbian, they would be competing at the same level.
Oh, absolutely.
So this is and they're well coached. Mike Merschman does such a good job with that team. But
Yeah.
when you see other teams in this area, there were a few that kind of stood out. And Josh, I'll let you kind of take it from here. What are some other teams that are at least have their foot in the door?
Yeah.
The playoff picture.
Yeah, just a quick note about Cary, and I don't know how you guys felt. with the amount of seniors they had on that team last year, I would have never pegged this to happen. I mean, they are just absolutely curb stomping teams.
25 straight wins.
25 straight wins, 23 of them by double digits. I mean, they went down to Colonel Crawford and won 7-3, and then had a little bit of a scare last week with Upper Sandusky, who's played really well this year.
That surprised a lot of people.
Yeah,
myself
Upper led in the fourth quarter, and Carey, that's kind of what you do as a good team, and you find a way to win when you don't play your best game. But to win, last night 56-12 against Seneca East, who was playing for a share of the league title. And they came out and dominated. I think it was a running clock the entire second half. So just an incredible performance. But Hopewell's in that region too, in that region 22. And Seneca East is in there. So, very well could see maybe some rematches if Carey and Hopewell lined up to play, or Carey and Seneca East. So that's exciting.
Seneca East clinching the number 11 seed. That'll match them up with, the 6th seed?
Yeah, which is not official yet. So
okay.
we can't.
Don't wanna? Yeah, because Ottawa Hill still has to play today, right?
No, they played last night.
Okay,
I think they had a bye week.
They had a bye week too.
But what I caught about that, Seneca East being the 11th seed, is Hopewell could still be the 6th seed. They are currently 7th, but they will move up to either 5 or 6. And I'm not sure why. It depends on who, but you could have a Seneca East Hopewell Loudon first round matchup.
Ooh.
We would appreciate that in the Advertiser Tribune.
I would definitely appreciate that.
We would like
sure.
to get 2 coverage teams.
I would like that. That'd be cool.
Hopewell's not bad.
I heard they're pretty good.
Yeah.
I heard some good things about them.
I don't know exactly, again, why Hopewell can move to the 5 or 6, because they have wins over Margaretta and St. Joe, who played tonight.
And
so
Margaretta's sitting there at number
level.
9.
Yeah, they'll get second-level points no matter what. Margaretta will stay at that 9 spot if they beat St. Joe tonight, which they should. So, but yeah, Hopewell will be at home. It's just a matter of who they host. Seneca East will be on the road. It's just a matter of where they go. But they very well could go to Hopewell Loudon.
So Carey, we're looking at Region 22 right now, Division 6. You've got Carey at the top. You've got Hopewell Loudon at 7. Colonel Crawford at 8. Margaretta at 9. And Seneca East sitting there at number 11. That's it for teams in this area.
You know what stands out to me in that region, too?
What's that?
Carey's the one. They're going to play Riverdale 16. Obviously, they will win that probably convincingly. Then they would play the winner of the 8-9 matchup, which would be
Colonel Crawford and Margaretta.
Margaretta. Colonel Crawford would make the trip to Carey this time of that 7-3 game I just mentioned a couple minutes ago. So not exactly the easiest second-round game Carey was looking for, but and Margaretta's good. Margaretta, with a win tonight, they'll be 8-2. I've seen them a couple times this year. Their defense is pretty stout, pretty nasty, pretty big. Defensive linemen are averaging right around 280 pounds. So
for sure.
That would be their second-round matchup, which would be pretty tough.
So then you look at other teams in the area. Obviously, we talked about Hopewell Loudon. They look really good.
Big win last night.
Any other teams that you've got your eye on right now that might be in this conversation?
How about Calvert last night getting a big road win?
There you go.
Like I wrote in our newsletter, the last 5 years, Calvert did have one big win, but the other 4 games, I think, were decided by 23 total points. And then they go to Lakota last night, kind of close into the third quarter, and then they pulled away for a big 55-14 win, and 100% got them into the playoffs. There's a little bit of question going in that they could have won last night and somehow still missed, but up to that 13 spot, and they'll go on the road and play Lima Central Catholic, which that'll be tough. LCC took it to Hopewell pretty good earlier this year, 31-8, and then Calvert and Hopewell played a pretty close game. So that'll probably be a pretty big uphill climb for Calvert next week, but in the playoffs is better than being out of the playoffs.
And out of the playoffs is where Mohawk sits right now, sitting at number 17. And, of course, only the top 16 get in. Obviously, it was a frustrating year for Mohawk. It was a building year, learning year, if you will.
Unfortunately, it's one of those situations where if you look at the 10 teams on their schedule, they beat the 4 they should have beat, and they lost to the 6 they should have lost to.
Yeah.
They needed one of those 6 losses. One would have got them in. But you look at the teams they lost to: Calvert, Hopewell, Loudon, Gibsonburg, and then Carey, Seneca East, and Crawford. All teams 6-4, all the way up to Carey's 10-0 mark. So I needed one of those, and I was afraid of that. I wrote that, I think, after week 6 that they had to win one of those 3 over Carey, Seneca East, or Crawford to get in. They didn't do it, and they just missed at the 17th spot.
But you do have some other teams we're looking at Region 26 now, Division 7. You have some other teams that did make it in. Obviously, Tiffin Calvert sitting there at 13. We talked about them. But also Gibsonburg.
Yeah.
I was wondering when we were going to bring that up.
Yes. That's been one of your favorite teams to watch this year.
Well, you know how I feel about the wing T offense. You know how much I
you absolutely
enjoy.
adore.
Yeah. Enjoy watching that. But man, Connor Smith is an absolute pleasure to watch. Looking at him, so we're talking about the running back, Connor Smith. Looking at him, he doesn't look that impressive, but man, he just has a great center of gravity. He can keep his feet, he can keep moving, and the numbers that he's put up this year are just insane, and they're extremely well coached. They can suffocate that run defense. So that is a team that I'm not counting out either.
Well, they have a tough matchup with Jefferson as
Delphus.
Yeah, they've played some tough teams too. As I was looking at their record yesterday, all 4 of their losses have come against teams, well, other than St. John's. Their first loss of the year against St. John's was kind of a head-scratcher. But their other 3 losses came against some really tough teams, Columbus Grove, Ayersville, and then against Allen East. So they've had some tough games this year, but they've taken care of business in the games that they needed to take care of business. So it's one of those teams where you don't know what you're going to get on paper because, I mean, like you said, they won the games they should have. They lost the games they probably should have, except for one. So you can't really predict what's going to happen in this game. I mean, you can make an estimate, you can make a guess, but it's anybody's guess what's going to happen with this one. You got 7-3 Edgerton, 4-6. Where am I at? No, 6-4 Delphus. And 8-2 Gibsonburg. So
yeah, I'm curious to see how Gibsonburg does in the playoffs. Typically, not a good playoff team. Even there was a couple years where they went 10-0 and got in and got upset at home in their first game. So I was actually there last year in their first round playoff game against Western Reserve. I don't know if you guys remember that Saturday, but it was like torrential downpour the entire game. And Gibsonburg's field went to, words I shouldn't say on the air. I think the first or second play of the game, I couldn't see numbers on jerseys. I'm talking like black jerseys, not brown for mud, black jerseys. And he was completely shut out that night because of the weather. So, sometimes if it gets rainy, it's a little harder to run the ball. So,
well, when you keep the grass as long as they do over there in Gibson,
it was. I'm not saying they had. Yeah. But he was on that team last year, and Western Reserve shut him down, which, again, like I said, the weather, the rain, the mud, the slipperiness from black jerseys were obviously an issue. But, if they get into a situation where they got to start passing, I'm curious to see if they're able to do it.
They
haven't had to, but playoffs are a little different. The level of competition is going to go up, whether it's this game against Delphos Jefferson or they play the winner of 10-0 Antwerp and 6-4 North Central potentially. So it'll be a little different in the playoffs. See how they can do.
Yeah, for sure. There was a couple moments during that Gibsonburg-Margaretta game where, okay, they have to throw the ball, and they still ran it.
Yeah.
But they just ran a deceptive play to get their guys into open space. That's kind of their offense. They don't really have a passing game. So if they get forced into a situation where they have to pass, they're just in an uncomfortable situation.
Yeah. That's going to be – you have to be prepared for that because you're not going to run 300 yards against every playoff team. Like I said, I kind of expected them to do that last year when they played Western Reserve, and Reserve shut them down. So
Connor Smith finished the year 239 carries, 2,377 yards, and 35 touchdowns.
That's not bad.
No fumbles. Averaging 10 yards a carry, 9.9 yards per carry on the season.
And he had a nice game last night.
And also, finished tops in the SBC River in tackles, 115 tackles on the year. So,
yeah, like I said,
there are some people who say he's a better linebacker than he is a running back.
I said, he is just again, like looking at him, like we did. I think both times that we've had our Gibsonburg games, he's been the player of the game. Looking at him, he doesn't look like the stats he puts up. He's a skinny kid. He's shorter. He doesn't look. I don't know. He doesn't stand out until he's on the football field, and it's just wild how he just doesn't get tackled.
Yeah.
It's just really fun to watch.
Oh, for sure.
You know,
Yes, yes.
you know, in the leading up to this week, Brian Colatruglia said in his 20-plus years of coaching, he's never seen one player have such an impact on a team's success other than Connor Smith. Now, Hopewell went out and beat him 40-13 last night, and, you know, must have not been too bad, but, you know, nice win for Hopewell. And
Well, Hopewell's got a pretty good running back in their own, Braylon Martinez. He has really turned it on these last few weeks in the absence of Hayden Welly.
Yeah.
You know, he had to pick it up. He knew. I mean, you got to coming off a 1,000-yard season last year. Hayden Welly. You know, coming into his senior campaign. A lot of people expected this to be kind of his year, his breakout year. Well, it hasn't really been the case, and Braylon Martinez has had to step up in his stead because Hayden's been dealing with a lot of injuries this year.
yeah,
And with that, I think Hopewell has kind of reverted back to the offense that's a little bit more Colatrulio style.
Yeah.
You know, you see Evan Crease being able to drop back, spread the field. They have multiple receivers. You know, Evan Crease leading the league, 1,800 yards passing, 17 touchdowns, completing about 65% of his passes. You know, that's a kid that, with last year, Ashton Bohr, they really didn't lean on him in the passing game very much. You know, if they needed it, it was there. He was a great passing quarterback. It's nothing against the kid, but they really didn't need to use him in the passing game because their run game was so dominant. Their offensive line was so dominant at the point of attack. This year, it just felt like they could open up and do whatever they wanted to do with that offense.
yeah, and you like that balance too. You never want to be dependent on one thing over the other, unless, I mean, if you're running the triple option, obviously you're going to be running the ball. So, but yeah, Braylon Martinez. I just looked at Matt Nye's story. I think he had 26 carries for 229 yards and 3 touchdowns last night. That's
pretty nice.
That's rushing and playing better than Connor Smith. We
Yes.
just talked about Connor Smith, but for Braylon Martinez to outperform him last night in a league title game is impressive.
Yeah, that is that's an impressive feat for sure. Any other things for high school football? You got any other tabs open that you get to?
Which one do we? No, I mean, if you look at Division 5, Region 18, where there's really no teams in the area. I mean, Elmwood, Eastwood, Huron, Oak Harbor, Liberty Benton, Edison, but that's not really around here. Same thing with Region 14, Division 4. Bellevue will be the 8th seed and host Galleon. The winner of that will play Cleveland Glenville, which is not ideal. And then Upper Sandusky in at the 12th spot, travel to Clear Fork. Upper Sandusky, I think everybody got in the playoffs 2 years ago, like we just mentioned, and then I think it's their first playoff appearance besides that one since like 2012.
Really?
Just the second one since 2004. So what Coach Russell Hall has done over there to go 5-5. They lost in the last minute to Seneca East, and then we just talked. They had the lead in the fourth quarter against Cary. So, you know, maybe if those two things maybe flip your way, you're talking about a 7-3 team, probably hosting a playoff game. So
With
it's
Upper,
a slow
I feel
turn,
like,
but they've done well there.
yeah, with Upper, I feel like we've always kind of known that they have the numbers to make it work. They just got to put it together.
Yeah, they're in that Division 4, so
Oh, Fostoria picking up a second
Yeah.
win last night. That's another one.
That's my alma mater.
There you go.
Yeah, they won 2 out of the last 3. You know, that's a really tough situation over there for Coach Derek Kidwell. So, but winning 2 out of your last 3, the one loss in that was Eastwood, which a lot of teams lose to Eastwood. So, just build some positively going into the off season. Maybe get some kids out. Say, hey, you know, we finished strong. If you would have been there the whole year, maybe we play a little better. So, see what they can do next year. You know, I know they were excited and revitalized with the turf on the field this year. That's really nice turf they put in at Fostoria Memorial Stadium, and yeah, get 2 out of 3 wins and go into the off season and see what happens next year.
Well, I say, you know, they have the ability now to host playoff games.
Yeah.
And they have not had that before. That's extra revenue coming into the sports department.
Yeah, absolutely.
I see this
Good for
as
the city.
it's got to be a good thing for the program as a whole, and you'll see the dividends for that pay off 4 or 5 years down the road. I really do think that, you know, 3, 4, 5 years down the road, this Fostoria program is going to be back to the prominence that we remember back in the 90s.
Yeah, I mean, even the 2000s.
Even the early 2000s, yeah.
When Micah Hyde was there and Marcus Hyde and Chase
Yep.
Munoz and yeah, the exciting the playoff thing. You know, the last couple of years I've been, you know, you get your map out and you're like, okay, here's a team. Oh, look, Fostoria is right in the middle, but they had grass. You know, and OHSAA really moved away from schools hosting with grass. They want everything on turf, which is understandable. But back in the day, Fostoria was a host. You know, before they went to that turf rule, the early 2000s. I remember growing up. You know, Huron and Kenton and Ottawa Glandorf, some of those really good Kenton teams back in the early 2000s playing at Fostoria, because it's a huge stadium, huge parking lot, big place to be, nice, easily accessible from I-75 and Route 12. So, that'll be exciting to see if they can get a playoff game or two at home this year.
Yeah, for sure. All right, any other high school stuff that we want to talk about? Because I got a special guest waiting over here in the wings.
Let's get him over here.
Let's bring Scott Donaldson on over here. We've got Heidelberg football coach Scott Donaldson coming on with us here.
I want him to explain what he's drinking first, too.
Oh.
What is that? It looks like a
let's not talk about that.
That was grace. Okay. That was excellent grace you just displayed there between the cords there. I like it.
Not bad for a big guy.
Footwork.
Still an athlete, baby.
How we doing, Coach?
Gotta open another tab.
Yeah, it's been a wild morning.
Yeah, I guess. Recruiting visits this morning?
Yeah, meetings, recruiting visits, pushing back a homecoming game for an hour.
We're not supposed to talk about that yet. No.
Oh, we're not? Sorry.
Garvin's like, this isn't news yet, but Coach can say whatever he wants. This is Coach's show here.
Some of us are covering that. Kind of need to know that.
Right? Yeah.
How you going to know and not just whisper it to me?
Well, we've been on the air the whole time. What are we supposed to do?
Lies.
No, got a 3 p.m. start.
It's on your thing. Oh, you got it too.
But yeah.
Oh,
yeah,
I'm about to put it on Twitter.
Had some transportation issues, so yeah.
It's on there. It says 3 p.m. moved from 2 p.m.
There you go. There you go.
Yeah, hit your refresh.
Hit the refresh.
I had to open another browser. I'm up to 8
Hey, there
now.
it is. There we go.
There we go.
Hold on while I tweet that.
BergAthletics.com. You will
Just
see.
retweet me.
Oh,
That's exactly. Just retweet Coach.
you retweet.
He's got all the followers.
You retweet me. So I'll quote tweet you.
There you go. There you go.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever gotten as much Twitter activity as I did this week when I had you on the on the coach's corner.
I'm a popular guy.
Yeah. It was fun.
No, it's
always
fun.
fun.
That was great. That was. I had an absolute blast. I love it. So,
So today, different. Obviously, things are not exactly as you planned when you woke up. I didn't think it was going to work out that way, but you're just kind of a roll with the punches kind of guy anyway.
Oh,
so.
absolutely. No, and that's we have a great administration and great staff that just we'll roll with the punches and
you guys send them charter buses. So
what's ahead? I would have. I could have sent them an 18-week going on everywhere on campus. I
like
mean,
fireworks.
So do I. So do I.
Well, you guys put enough fireworks on display on the field. So.
Well, we're hoping for a lot on the field. There's no question. I did see someone with a cannon coming down.
Oh, we talked about that.
We talked about this.
We
so
talked about the cannon.
I saw a cannon somewhere. I don't know if someone's just playing with a cannon in Seneca County or
hey,
I'm
all about it.
Normally sounds crazy, but that's something I would expect from Tiffin.
What's that? You got to defend your house.
That's right. Defend the castle.
Guns, cannons, whatever.
But with a delay, hopefully the students and everyone else can get a little more ready for the game.
That's right. And we'll have plenty of time to make sure we're ready.
Heck yeah.
So you got the 1972 Stag Bowl championship team in town today. So talk about what that means to the program. Obviously, it's been 50 years now. Mm-hmm. What does it mean to have these guys back on campus, though?
Well, winning a national championship is obviously such an amazing accomplishment, and to be able to have these guys back and see the success you could have at a small school like Heidelberg is unbelievable. We are the little guy, and I don't care who you. We're the smallest school in this conference in a tiny little town of Tiffin, but when you do things the right way, and you can do anything. You can win a national championship like these guys did, and I'm so excited to see the guys. I haven't had a chance to see them yet, so hopefully when we start doing the ceremony, I'm able to shake some hands, and it's going to be a fun thing.
Yeah,
yeah,
that's awesome. Yeah. So with them being. What are the plans for today with them? Like, are they going to be on the field during halftime?
I got no idea, bro.
It's like, don't ask me. I'm not in charge of that stuff. I'm just running the game plan.
I got
enough worried about with the game plan
100%, man. I got 140 guys on the sideline I got to worry about. And
all right,
that's Mr. Garvin.
Let's talk about game then. Let's talk about game day. Marietta coming to town. A little bit late, but they'll get here.
They'll get here at some point.
They'll get here. You got a game to play.
Let's go.
So what's on? I mean. What's the keys for today?
Number one, defensively, we have to contain that running back. We talked about it Tuesday. Bryce Agnew, he is a monster, leading the conference in rushing, averaging 130 a game and over 5 yards a carry. He is a load. I mean, if any of our defensive players aren't sore after today's game, they didn't play hard enough. Because anytime you have to tackle this kid, you have to bring every ounce of energy and every ounce of muscle in your body to bring him down. And so that's number one, is making sure we do that. And if we can, that allows us to play our game, which is getting after the quarterback and creating turnovers, creating big plays with sacks, and that's what we've mostly been able to do this year. So I think our guys are up for the challenge. Offensively, it's sustaining drives, making sure we don't shoot ourselves in the foot with stupid penalties and TFLs and sacks, and it's sustaining drives so we can always stay ahead of the sticks. Once we get into 3rd and 7 plus, Marietta becomes really dangerous because they have a really good pass rush. So we got to make sure that we're staying ahead of the sticks, keeping efficient on offense, and then taking our shots when we want to, not when we need to. If that makes sense.
Absolutely. So you've had a couple of guys out with injuries these last few weeks. So I won't talk about whether they're going to play today or not, but just talk about the guys that have stepped up into those roles. Just how they've been able to assume those roles and how they've kind of acclimated themselves.
Well, hopefully that's a sign of a good program.
That's right.
The guys that, they might not be starters, but there's not much of a talent drop-off. And starting at quarterback with, Bridger Klein and Shane Treharn, and both those guys have been around this program for so long. I mean, they stepped right in, and it wasn't, I remember talking to Bridger, he hasn't started a game since, what was his freshman year? 2018 at West Holmes High School, know? And so I thought he was going to be obviously uptight, and he wasn't. It was, I do this every day in practice. I work with these guys every day in practice, and it was nothing. And the same thing with Shane. So Treharn. And so I'm so proud of those guys. Just the way they stepped up. It wasn't, they weren't playing tight. They weren't playing. They were just playing.
Yeah.
Then obviously when you have TJ Ramey, that kid at running back, I mean, he would start at probably 249 other colleges in the nation. I mean, just he's a special talent. He's a physical specimen. The kid is just a pure muscle. It was the same thing with him. Hey, TJ, you're the feature back today. Okay. Give me the ball.
Yep. Give me the ball. Tell me where to run, Coach.
What I love is that he's such a different style than Montavious Yearby, than Tay, that it really, cliche is the old thunder lightning.
Yeah.
It kind of is. I mean, TJ is such a physical running back.
Oh, man. That's one thing that stands out every time I watch that kid is he does not shy away from contact.
No. Which, obviously he's not the tallest guy in the world. He's just an inch over a legal midget, but that is not disparaging midgets. Little
Facts.
people. I don't know the correct vernacular. I'm sorry.
Little people. I think that's the best way.
Okay, my fault.
That's good. That's all good.
But he's always going to fall forward for an extra 2 yards because he's so physical on the way he finishes runs.
He really runs behind his pads, man.
Yes.
You hear that a lot. It's like a cliche saying, but, man, he runs behind his pads.
Yes. And he's so strong. So, just so proud of those guys, the way they stepped up. As a coach, that's what you love to see. You love to see kids getting the opportunities and making the absolute most of it.
Absolutely.
And all three of those guys have up to this point. So it's been really fun to see.
Nice. All right, Josh, I'll turn it over to you now. I've asked a lot of questions already. You got any questions for Coach?
Yeah, Coach, just first thing, coming off a bye, just kind of how do you approach the bye? Has your maybe your philosophy on how you approach the bye changed over years, or is it pretty much the same every year?
No, it's very different every year.
Oh.
And number one, it's when the bye is. We've had byes in week 2 where, all right, let's get back to camp. Let's grind this out. We need, more fundamental work, and let's get back to camp type atmosphere. With a week 6 or week 7, bye, No, it was week 6. I don't know. Whatever the last week was. It's been a long day, brother.
Week 7.
All right, it's been a long day, Josh. I'm sorry.
You're fine.
But it's in the where we are as a program, we needed to get healthy. We needed to take hits off these guys. I mean, we are old.
Yeah, that's a great
we're
point.
old.
You got a lot of older guys on the team.
You know, I know the hot button topic of the NBA is load management, and that's really what we needed. So a lot of our guys that are 4th and 5th and 6th year seniors didn't take the week off, but they kind of took the week off.
Yeah.
Just to get their bodies back to healthy, get their bodies back to 100%. And I think it paid off. This week of practice, other than the horrible weather we had, was a great week of practice. I mean, with guys really, operating at full speed, which we didn't really see in the, week 5 and week 6 because they were just banged up. They're sore. Everyone's got little issues right now. And if you're not sore at this point in the season, you're probably not playing hard enough, or so you're gonna be sore. So we were able to alleviate that and then get back to a great week of practice this week.
Coach, can you talk a little bit about the defense? Tremont Wiley, Griffin Pendry, Tyler Turek, Zach Blackiston, just what they've done for the team this year, not only as leaders, but to really lead the defense and keep you in games.
Yeah, I mean, that defense is just full of leaders. I mean, and what's nice about it is that we've been able to really generate some depth. I mean, you talk, we really do have 3 starting corners with Trey and Joe Norris, who has been lights out for the last 2 years, and then Keyshawn Cunningham. And it's kind of the same thing we talked about, TJ. Keyshawn Cunningham would start at probably 250 other schools in the country. He's special. And then at safety, you got, 3, and obviously Griffin and Rudy are special. I mean, those kids are unbelievable. And Griffin, having him back there is like having another coach. I mean, he's making all the adjustments. Him and Parker Smith. Yeah. We could not send a call, and they could call the defense. They'd be fine. I mean, those kids are just so football smart. They understand everything, and we do leave a lot of checks, audibles, adjustments on those guys, depending on the situation. Parker Smith is calling the game probably about 10, 15 plays a game.
Yeah.
So, and then with the D-line and then the front 7, the guy that doesn't get overlooked, but I don't think gets enough credit is Easton St. Clair.
Right.
I mean, that kid is
Absolutely.
everywhere. That kid is everywhere. Obviously he's always to the field as that low outside backer, but he's kind of a safety. We put him in man coverage, blitz him. He can do everything, and he does everything, and he does everything at an extremely high level. I mean, he really does take away the entire wide side of the field, because you never know where he's going to be, and his ball skills are unbelievable. So I think he has 7 interceptions on his career already, something like that. But he really makes our defense go. We can do so much defensively because he can do everything. And then the D-line has just been playing lights out. I mean, those kids have been, whether it's the running or the pass, they've been playing lights out. I mean, it's not just the starting 4. There's, 8 guys that rotate through to keep everyone fresh, and they're just playing at another level. Tyler Turek especially, but, Jared Evans and Ben Roberts and B-Bart, really rotate in. But then Zach Blackiston he's playing at an unbelievably high level. It's unbelievable. And the mullet is back.
Yes.
So,
it is.
I feel sorry for quarterbacks the next 4 weeks. 'Cause mullet, it's like Hoodie Mellow, It's just a different kind of level. A mullet Blackiston. I mean, you see a 6'5" guy with bright red hair and a mullet and a red mustache, number one, obviously the kids know. It's kind of scary looking, but oh my God, he's been playing at a different level this year.
Yeah. Yeah, for real. I mean, we've been playing at a different level the last few years. Man.
He has.
He's really taken it to a new level this year, but I mean, there's not really that much more. I mean, he was already an outstanding defender.
He is, and he's having so much fun this year. I love to see it. So,
for sure. Zach, I'm going to turn it over to you now. I'm sure you got a couple questions for Coach.
Well, it's no question that this team has had some adversity you guys had to go through. I mean, not to mention injuries. John Carroll, Mount, you guys played him close. What's the attitude right now on the team going through these last couple weeks?
And extremely positive. And that's the advantage of having an experienced team like we have. They've had adversity, not just on the football field, but real adversity, losing loved ones. And I think our guys have such a great attitude that it doesn't, they just roll with the, kind of like we were talking about, you just roll with the punches,
That's right.
We played our absolute hearts out at Mount and didn't win. Well, if you played absolutely as hard as you could and did everything you could, what else can you ask for?
That's right.
And I think, and obviously as a coach, I'm trying to pound that into the kids' heads the second they get here, and our kids understand it. They did whatever they could, and we just didn't come out on top. Okay, well, next week we'll do whatever we can and see what happens. And the bye week and this week practice especially was just, it was fun. It was positive. There was, obviously there's crap talking. You remember that going on, but that's fun, and the kids are just having a blast playing football with each other right now, and I'm so proud of them the way they've handled some adversity of losing some games, losing some players, and it's really fun to see.
We were talking with Aaron Montz earlier about kind of the homecoming atmosphere down here. Just how special is it at Heidelberg this time of year? I mean, you see the tailgating going on downtown. You got events going on all day. I mean, just it's always awesome. But just how special is it to have this kind of event?
Well, that's one thing Heidelberg does an amazing job of. Is every game's an event. Every home game we have is an event. There's something else going on everywhere across campus, in town, and everywhere. And homecoming's obviously its own special animal. And like I said, we see pop-up tents everywhere. I mean, when I was leaving the office yesterday, there was 4 RVs parked in the parent lot already. I mean, they're out camping.
They're ready.
They're ready to go. There's no doubt. So that's a blast. You see the students in the end zone. We had to buy barricades because they were too wild. Our home game experience is unlike any other small college, and I'll put that up against anyone. I don't care. It is a wild experience, and our kids love it. Our sideline, you'll see, loves it. You are going to see something special on the sideline today.
All right.
We're unveiling the head of our exercise science program, Dr. Coacher Morgan, who takes a lot of pictures, does a lot, a very good friend. Is also a great woodworker and has built us a 6-foot by 3-foot throne.
Stop.
So
what? This is breaking news right here.
Breaking news, flash it.
Love it.
It's so it's the turnover touchdown throne. If you get a turnover,
love
touchdown,
it.
You get to sit in the throne. And we're going to use it for recruiting and everything after the season. But guys, football should be fun. I don't care what level you're playing at. And they're not going to flag us for what we do on the sideline. Hopefully, hopefully.
That'll be the end of that.
Unless I was going to.
There you go. And myself and Coach Lewis have sat in it. It is sturdy.
It is sturdy.
Sturdy.
All right.
Okay.
Testing 1, 2.
So like I said, football should be fun. And if you're not having fun playing football, you're doing it wrong. It's a sport. Our kids aren't getting paid to do this. They're out there to have fun with their brothers, and if we can make it just a little more fun, let's do it.
Absolutely. Well, Coach, I have one question. You talk about homecoming and just the atmosphere here. You've been here for what? This is 19 years? And how long have you been a head coach?
7.
7 years. Okay, so 19 years. 12 of those you were spent as an assistant on the staff, but you've been here almost 2 decades.
Yeah.
How much has homecoming evolved since your first homecoming on campus?
First and foremost, just that we're on campus.
That's exactly what that's the point I was trying to make. Like, how much has
That's
it
what Aaron
evolved?
said, too.
Because Aaron said it wasn't the same getting your car, driving down to Frost Callenau Stadium for a homecoming game.
Of course.
Don't
get me wrong, Frost Callenau is an amazing venue, and
for sure.
It's a gorgeous venue. But we're not going to fill a 7,500 seat stadium, you know, and getting this on campus has changed everything. It's changed campus. It's not just football games. It's changed. This is where we do graduation. This is where the big events happen in this stadium. And obviously for events like this, I mean, it's unbelievable just because it's all right here.
Yeah.
You know, and Heidelberg's a small campus. I mean, we're looking at 3 of our dorms right now out these windows that the kids can just roll out of bed and come out to the game, you know.
So cool.
And it's, like I said, it's changed everything. So it's a gorgeous stadium, and it's perfect for us. We didn't need some giant monstrosity of a stadium that we can't fill. So the stadium seats about 1,300, but for the last, Garvin, 7 years, we've averaged over 3,000 at our games.
Yeah.
You know, but that means the field is full, the hill is full, you know, that's what makes it special. It's not just people sitting in the stands,
That's
you
right.
know. So, I mean, it's a perfect time. Obviously, the leaves changing. It's gorgeous.
The
right
setting
now.
is just
It's
absolutely.
perfect.
Oh, yeah. All right, Coach. Zach, any more questions for Coach?
Nothing.
Nothing.
I know you got a
Appreciate
busy
guys.
day, man. I don't want to keep you too much. I really appreciate you carving out a section of your schedule for us today.
Of course, boys. Love what you're doing. This is a blast, and you know, let's keep this going. And said maybe next year we can do it outside.
Let's get some students out here in front of the windows here and like
It's
College
exciting.
game day. Yeah.
Or like TRL, you know, with the windows, old school. We're old.
Now you're going to be the Carson Daly.
What? I
Right.
mean, I've been hearing I've looked a lot like Carson
just,
Daly.
you know, just throwing that out there.
No, it's a blast, guys. I really appreciate it.
Always
and have
is.
some fun today, all right?
Oh, yeah, we'll do. All right. That's going to do it for us today on the Saturday Scoreboard. Do we have any clips that we want to get to, Greg? Do we have any? Nah, we'll save that. We'll post those later in the day. How about that? We got some we do have some cut of the week from Champs Barbershop. We'll post those later in the day from our games last night. But for us today, that's going to do it. For Greg Kinn, Josh Morgret, and Zach Dillon, I'm Nate Mullins signing off from the Fox Den at Hoernemann Stadium. I want to thank our special guests for joining us once again, Aaron Montz, former City of Tiffin mayor, and current head football coach Scott Donaldson at the Heidelberg University. Once again, thank you for tuning in. Make sure you share the video, like, follow, subscribe on all of our platforms. Make sure you tune in later today, 3 o'clock start time, Heidelberg versus Marietta, live right here on Heart of Ohio Sports. Have a good day, everybody.